Helping now, new details following a grisly discovery in Hollywood. A 15-year-old girl found dead inside a singer's Tesla.
Mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, appreciate
Michael Jordan, what about him? His dad, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing.
I've seen the theories about David unaliving Celeste may have been like a ritual, like a sacrificial ritual, which I can see that being a possibility just because when we're talking about like old sacrificial like rituals, they do seek out virgins or seek out young women to sacrifice. That is something that they used to do. Maybe that David, during his gore content and during all the messed up stuff he was looking at, maybe he found content about sacrificial rituals.
I know about the music industry, and there's a lot of weird things that go on. These meetings they be having, it's more than just that. They plan things, it's a lot of crap.
So after Kanye dropped that line about sacrifices in Hollywood, most people brushed it off as another wild rant. But now with what just came out about D4VD and Celeste, those words hit completely different. As you probably already know, Celeste's body was found in D4VD's Tesla. And according to the coroner, the body was there for a long time before it was discovered. And for a lot of people, this didn't look random. It looked like exactly what Kanye warned about, a sacrifice meant to launch D4VD's career. Except here's the thing, this one clearly went wrong. Instead of staying hidden, the body surfaced. And David is at the center of outrage as Celeste's family and friends are demanding justice. Meanwhile, more disturbing details about David are starting to surface, like his obsession with graphic content and disturbing visuals. And he even admitted it himself that he used to watch the worst kind of material to desensitize himself. But you know what's even more disturbing? Turns out a lot of people in the industry knew what David was up to, including his obsession with underage girls, and yet no one said a thing. So could Kanye's theory about how the industry uses sacrifices to control artists explain why David's situation spiraled the way it did? And why has David still not been arrested when he seems to be the prime suspect? Let's break it all down.
A Lake Elsinore community mourning the suspicious death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. While we don't know how she died, the teen's decomposed body was found inside a Tesla at a Hollywood tow lot after someone reported a stench coming from the car, which happens to be registered to popular R&B singer David.
So to give you some background, Celeste Rivas went missing in April 2024 when she was just 13 years old. And after a whole year passed with no clues, people assumed the case went cold. But then, out of nowhere, on September 8th, 2025, her body was found inside the trunk of a Tesla registered to David. And since the body had been there for some time, it was in poor condition. But according to the LAPD, parts of the head and torso were still visible, including a hand that had a shh tattoo on the right index finger, the same tattoo David has. And while the LA County Medical Examiner was able to identify the body as Celeste Rivas based on her dental records, the manner of death could not be determined. But it's now been confirmed that her death is being investigated as a homicide. Now, let's talk about David, because here's where things get seriously disturbing. It appears that David and Celeste had some type of relationship at the time of her disappearance, which is already creepy enough given her age. But that's not all. Screenshots of alleged Discord chats between them have surfaced online, dated 2022, when Celeste was just 11 years old. In one exchange from October 2022, David appears to type Celeste in here, and a user under the name Celeste responds shortly after with, "Hi David, Bart." And then another screenshot from March 2024 shows members of David's Discord community discussing his interactions with Celeste, which proves that some of his fans were aware of inappropriate contact. And then in August 2024, about 4 months after Celeste was reported missing, a message surfaced in which a user told David to drop the one with the missing girl Celeste Rivas Hernandez, seemingly referring to a song David had dedicated to her. Also, this screenshot of Celeste's Discord profile shows that she was active from January 2021 until early 2024, which aligns with the time of her disappearance. And then there's David's music. Shortly before Celeste went missing, an unreleased track leaked online with the title Celeste Demo. And the lyrics talk about David being obsessed with a girl named Celeste. Now, if you're wondering where Celeste's parents were during this time, well, her mom actually admitted that she knew Celeste had a boyfriend named David before her disappearance. And then a teacher also came forward claiming that Celeste had had previously run away to Hollywood to be with David. According to this teacher who spoke to TMZ, this happened in early 2024, but the police were able to locate her and return her to her mother. And on top of all that, photos and videos have now surfaced of David hanging out with big-name artists like Billie Eilish and Cat's Eye, which makes you wonder how much these people know about David's dark side. So we already know from the Discord chats that some of David's fans were aware he was involved with someone who was underage, and yet no one spoke up. And honestly, there's also something fishy about Celeste's mom. Celeste was only 13 when she went missing, and her mother admitted she knew Celeste was dating a singer in LA and would sometimes run away from home to be with him. Now, I'm not blaming the mother for what happened to Celeste, but something just doesn't add up here. In fact, some fans online are now speculating that David may have been paying off Celeste's family to keep them quiet. In fact, one woman from Lake Elsinore, where Celeste's family lives, commented on a post about the incident, claiming that Celeste is from a very bad neighborhood and that her parents accepted $10,000 a week from David in order to let their relationship continue. And according to this woman, the parents knew Celeste was seeing David since she was just 11. So now some fans are dragging the family and saying they need to be held accountable. One user said, "With the whole David situation, I am indeed parent shaming, because what? How is it that you know your daughter's boyfriend's name is David, but not that he is a whole grown man? Why were the connections not made a year ago? A whole Discord server knew and didn't say ish? 2 + 2 = 5. And then some folks are comparing this to the R. Kelly situation and saying this is yet another case of parents knowingly letting their daughter run around with a grown man just because he's rich and famous. Now, speaking of fame, there's another theory that's making rounds on the internet, and it concerns the alleged sacrifices in the industry. And some people are now tying it back to what Kanye said about celebrities who sacrifice their loved ones. Kanye didn't just randomly say, "My mama was sacrificed." He framed it as a pattern in Hollywood where families, loved ones, and other people around artists are used to control them through trauma.
I served. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
So when you look at what happened with Celeste, that clip hits differently, because when her body was discovered, David was in the middle of a world tour and his fame skyrocketed practically overnight. And that's not all. Artist Santi P, who worked with David, shared a TikTok claiming that David changed after signing a record deal. According to Santi, David used to be religious and often mentioned God in his music, but after signing the contract, he stopped. And according to Santi, it wasn't a coincidence. It was actually one of the contract's clauses.
I am in LA, Hollywood, where David was from. I'm here in a record label studio parking lot. I know about the music industry, and there's a lot of weird things that go on. These meetings they be having, it's more than just that. They plan things, it's a lot of crap.
And this is interesting because Kanye previously said the same thing, and he claimed that industry contracts specifically ban artists from singing or rapping about Jesus.
Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say you can't say Jesus. When we was working on this album, people used to be coming over the studio just to say Jesus as loud as they wanted to. You can say Jesus in your studio.
Now, these alleged sacrifices in the industry aren't just random. Apparently, they follow a pattern. There's symbolism, timing, and most importantly, control. And with David, you've got almost every element. A rising star suddenly on a global tour, a girl connected to him in life and art, tattoos that match, a song literally naming her and talking about obsession, and then the discovery of her body in his Tesla in plain sight. So if he really unalived her, why would he leave her body in a car registered to him? That's like knowingly leaving fingerprints at the scene of a crime. And also, how come the police still haven't arrested David, despite all the evidence tying him to Celeste? Because even if he didn't end her life, her body was still found in his car. Plus, we already know he was allegedly flying her out to LA when she was 11. So that alone is enough to charge him with something. So many things are not adding up here, and the whole case is extremely weird because anybody else would have been arrested by now. So does this mean David has an alibi, or is someone higher up protecting him? What's your take on this theory that this might have been a sacrifice for David's career? Let me know in the comments, and don't miss out on this next story.